Today's guilty plea sparked emotion from Kelly in court as he talked about finding God during his time in lockup and thanked him for a second chance. If you would, take a listen.
I'm gonna take advantage of these resources now. I'm gonna take advantage of this opportunity now. God gave me a second chance.
And joining us now to talk more about Kelly's testimony and how the community is reacting to the plea deal is the Reverend Dr. Earl Fisher, the newly appointed Assistant Professor of Religious Communication Studies and the First Dean of Chapel at Lemoyne-Owen College. Dr. Fisher, glad to have you back at 3. This is breaking news here. Tell us about this new title and what it means.
Well, in a sense it is a full circle moment for me because 26 years ago I came to Memphis from Benton Harbor, Michigan as a student athlete at Lemoyne-Owen College. Today I was appointed as the First Dean of Chapel. There have been a lot of chaplains at Lemoyne-Owen College, and salute to all of them for their tireless leadership. But thanks to President Davis and to the entirety of the administration, the faculty, the staff, the community, I'm honored to be able to serve in this capacity, both as a professor and now as the Dean of Chapel, trying to make sure that we connect spirituality and scholarship.
Well, congratulations for sure. Well deserved,
Thank you,
to say the least. As we move on now, talking about Ezekiel Kelly, his plea deal today to all 28 counts. You heard what he had to say, some of which in court today. What does this mean not only for the family, Dr. Fisher, for possible healing and some closure, but the community as a whole?
Man, I still remember getting the text messages sent to our phone when we were being told to shelter in place because of what was happening. This entire situation is tragic. Heart goes out to the family. You know, they have people who they will not again see in the flesh in this realm. And so to hear him, you know, talk about some of what he's experienced, and then just to think about what we as a community have to deal with, because in a lot of ways, what he performed that day was a kind of stereotype of a certain type of blackness that I think gets ran and looped over into the media far too often, and it's fuel and fodder for people who put together policies that are grounded in this notion of black criminality. And so some of that is true, but hopefully we can continue to move forward beyond that.
As we take maybe a slightly deeper dive into this, do we also look into mental health, that issue these days? Does this kind of come into the forefront?
Yes, we need to have more dense and thicker conversations about not just the what, which is what I think we talk about on the surface, but the why. He starts to get into some of that. I actually reached out to his lawyer. I want to have a conversation with him and dive even deeper into some of the whys and try to figure out what he can provide our community in terms of insights and an entryway into resolving some of these issues and preventing these types of things from happening.
Let's transition into something big coming up that you are a big part of, the People's Summit, as it's now called. I remember the People's Convention. I think it was back in 1991. Or close to it.
It was one in 91. It was one in 2019 when we revived it. It was one in 2023 too. But the summit is the off-year gathering where we are putting people together to hold the elected officials accountable to the things that they were promising during the campaign trail. So we did our first one, our summit, in 2021. It was during the pandemic. So this is the one, it comes every year that there's not an election. So for everybody out there talking about certain people only organize when elections are on the horizon, we are proof positive that there are people every day, all day, trying to provide people with information, inspiration, and empowerment to hold our elected officials accountable.
With that in mind, how has the summit held people accountable? How has it evolved also over the years? I
think it's expanded. In scope, it's pretty much the same. It's our opportunity to directly engage with people who are in office and make them give an account for the decisions that they have made and try to chart them on a better path if they are moving in the wrong direction, because we know elections are coming up and our opportunity to organize a voting block is here before us, so that we can make sure if the people in office right now are not doing what they're supposed to do, we have a means of getting them out of office.
So have you had any confirmations? Has anyone already signed up to say, okay, I'm ready to be there to hear from the people, to have them to ask questions?
Yeah, community members, we have, I think last count was like 160 people confirmed in terms of attendees, the RSVPs. Elected officials, I think our last count was about 16. We've already announced publicly that both Mayor Harris and Mayor Young have confirmed. We announced, I think yesterday, some of the county commissioners who have confirmed. We've had more confirmation since then. We have city council people who are confirmed, and we have school board members who are confirmed. We have state legislators, both senators and representatives, who are confirmed. And we're working with a couple of different entities to try to do some expungement while we're there too. So we want to connect all of these dots and inform and engage our people on what really matters.
So, of course, the big part is obviously having the elected folks there, but what about getting the community involved for them to really step up to say, I will be there as well. This is important for me. This is important for the community. What do you say to those?
I think it's equally, if not more important, that we have our community members out there getting access to not just the individuals or the personalities, but information regarding the policies and the practices and the developments. There's a lot of nuance that I think a lot of our people miss. We hope to provide them with the capacity to engage in that nuance and organize our efforts so that we can ultimately transition from what we're dealing with now to what we really want to deal with.
For example, a debate has been coming up about a new proposed jail, maybe in New Chicago versus Shelby Farms. Can we get answers at an event like this, perhaps?
Yeah, not only will there be opportunities to engage with people from the stage, we're going to have people off on the sides, the same way we did our mayoral meet and greets leading up to the People's Convention in 2023 when we were going to different neighborhoods and having people come up and engage one-on-one. The same thing will be happening here. Now, I can't fully reveal the location. We'll do that later this week. It's some red tape that we're sifting through, but I'll just say it'll be at an educational institution in the Whitehaven area, and people need to turn out August 30th.
You will let me know eventually.
Yeah, you'll be one of the first ones to know, if
I
not
would hope
the first.
so.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Earl Fisher, Assistant Professor of Religious Communication at
LeMoyne-Owen College, the LeMoyne-Owen College, my alma mater. Thanks, Alex.
Always good to see you.
Appreciate it, brother.
A short break. We'll be back.